Kiernan, who was in World War II. And so we've had, so this is a great opportunity.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad that, guys are stepping up.
Yeah, I think this is great. Okay, well, all right, are we ready? Okay. I'm delighted and honored today to be talking to Ray Szewczyk.
Close enough.
Okay, and so who's here to share his stories, and as you can see by his cap, he is a veteran, a Vietnam veteran, and so we can start there. Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I enlisted.
You enlisted.
I got into the Navy. My uncle knew a recruiter in Bridgeport, and I got the last spot in April of '68 in the Navy from Bridgeport. When I was in boot camp, my mom forwarded a letter, and it was my notice, my draft notice. So when I opened it up, I was like, uh-oh. So I gave it to the CO, and he said, we'll take care of it. So if I didn't join, I would have been drafted.
Okay.
So I'm glad my uncle was able to get me in.
That sounds very good.
Yeah.
Good, very good. And so, where did you grow up, Ray?
Higginham.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
Haddam, Higginham. Actually, we moved around a lot, but I went to the service from Higginham.
Okay. And how old were you then?
Not quite 19.
19.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. First time away from...
Oh, yeah. Tough stuff.
So, where did you do basic?
Great Lakes.
Great Lakes, yeah. And so, in the winter when it was really cold?
Well, we got there in April, so it wasn't that bad.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And then where did the service take you? Where did the Navy take you after the Great Lakes?
Well, as you know, they do a bunch of aptitude tests and things on you. And unbeknownst to me, I was good at Morse Code. I never heard Morse Code before in my life.
Oh my goodness.
But I scored really high on the tests. So they sent me to a Class A school in Pensacola, Florida. Not the big naval air station down there. It was another little one up the road a little bit. So we were taught Morse Code by Marines. And I had never sat down at the typewriter before, so they had this big keyboard up on the wall, and then they covered it up. And you're supposed to type your name all in one line from remembering where it was. Well, my name, Raymond James Szewczyk, there's two Z's in there and all kinds of stuff. So I was the last one to finish because you'd have to find the letter and then roll back up and put it in the thing. So I had like 7 Marines standing around me, breathing down my neck. Not to mention, I was a little nervous at the time, but I finally finished it, and they had a few things to say to me after I was done. So, but anyway, so we learned Morse Code and how to type at the same time. And while we were in school, we would sit at tables like this, and they had like walkways, but they were elevated, and they'd come along and they'd smack the table with a big wooden mallet and stuff. And we're thinking, where the heck are they going to send us where we have to pay that much attention? Because when you jumped, they'd hit it even harder. So eventually you got used to not jumping. And so, where are we going to go that we're going to have to really concentrate on what we're doing? So as it wound out, some of us went in country, and some of us, I went to the Philippines and then went aboard ship from there.
Wow. What kind of ships did you serve on?
I was on 2 cruisers and a DLG.
Okay.
USS Chicago, USS Long Beach, and the DLG was the USS Horn. We picked the ships up in Subic Bay. The first one was the Chicago, and when she left to go back to the States, the Long Beach took her place, so we moved all our stuff over. And then when she left, the Horn came in and we moved all our stuff over there, and she went home. So we spent just about 15 months in the Gulf of Tonkin. But we also got to see Singapore, Bangkok, Hong Kong, places like that.
Yeah.
But when we were working, we weren't part of the ship's company. We were attached to the admiral's staff. That's where they justified us going to be on board ship, being attached to his staff. So the guys at the local post down here, they give me a hard time about being attached to the admiral's staff. But we never saw the guy. I think we saw him once. So we would work 12 hours on, 12 hours off. So sometimes, I think we'd do a week at a time, then you'd reverse and do morning.
Yeah.
So when we were sleeping, the ship was doing all their regular stuff. And then, so they called us spooks because they couldn't We couldn't tell them what we were doing, and
Oh, well, now what you were getting, what were you translating? I mean, were you translating orders or translating tactics or how were you?
messages.
Messages, okay, wow.
It was, can't really get into the
Yeah,
details
okay.
of it, but it was messages. It was, when Morse code was still in vogue. We have a lieutenant, oh, I guess he's a full bird colonel now down at the VFW. And I told him that someday the computers are all gonna die and they're gonna want us old guys to know Morse code. And he's like, they don't use it anymore.
I was gonna ask you, like, what your equivalent now on the ship, you know, it would be, you know, it would be all computerized. It's,
Probably, yeah.
And encoded and all that.
We were back, the crypto, it was the crypto
Yeah,
jargon, I guess they call it.
I was trying to think of that, what we call it, crypto, yeah.
So,
Encrypting, you encrypt the message, and then you
yeah, we
decrypt
had,
it or whatever.
we had geeks back then. They weren't computer geeks because there were no computers, but they would take the messages that we got, we would get them in 5 numbers or 5-letter groups.
Yeah,
And it could be from anywhere from 2 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on how long it take it to. So you just sit there and type away, and when you got done, you gave it to the geek, and he went out and figured out what it was. So
Wow.
we weren't in any kind of, we were just the ditty chasers is what they call us.
Okay,
So we just, in the school we went to, there was guys that just did Morse code. There were guys that translated the messages. There were guys that kept the equipment running. There were guys that worked the teletype that was in the back room to keep, you know, everybody going. So there was a bunch of different jobs inside that one. They were called communication technicians. And we were CTR, our branch for code. And CTO was operations, take care of stuff. Maintenance was M. So when we first got there, you would go to just started school for like 8 or 9 weeks, and then you'd go over to the next crowd after you've gotten your security clearance. They would go into town and talk to people around town. This one lady I worked at Ponds for like 35 years. After I got home, she came up to me and she said, you know, while you were in the service, 2 FBI guys came to my house. So, you know, they were asking questions, and they went down to the shop and they asked questions down there, and so I wound up getting my clearance, no problem. So, but while you were waiting on the clearance, you were going to the regular side of the school, and then once you got your clearance, you went into the
yeah.
security side of the school. So, and we had Marines around us all the time, even aboard ship, if anything happened. Well, you guys remember the USS Pueblo?
Yeah,
Okay, well, if I was I did that kind of work, but aboard ships.
okay,
So, you know, I followed that pretty close when we were going
yeah,
through school, because those guys, nobody helped them. You know,
Yeah.
there was, so that was as I was leaving to go to the Philippines, I saw this guy coming home, and there was a bunch of reporters and stuff around, and I was like, who the heck is this guy? Well, on the emblem, we had a feather and a lightning bolt for our job description. And he was walking up and I was walking down, and I saw his emblem and he saw mine, so we just kind of, and then I knew who he was, you know, with all the people around. So I'm just glad I didn't go in there a year earlier.
yeah.
Who knows where you would have wound up, right?
Right. Did you have R&R when you were there? Did you go off ship and?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and where did you travel to? Where did you?
We went to Singapore, that was pretty cool.
Okay.
Once to Singapore. Went to Bangkok, Thailand for 2 days. We'd stay on station for, the first time I was out, we were out for 56 days aboard the USS Chicago. And that's a long time for, you know, guys are starting to go nuts, you know? I mean, you're aboard ship and you're doing all this stuff all the time. Then when you get ashore, it's just like, yahoo!
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was the longest one. It was
Okay,
56 days. And each, like I said, each ship was about 5 months on each one.
Okay.
The Long Beach was the best one. She was a nuke. The only trouble with being on a nuke, we wanted to go to Australia,
Yeah.
to Sydney, but they wouldn't let us in because she was nuclear powered.
Oh,
So-
okay.
So that was kind of a drag, but we saw a lot of places, a lot of cool
that's-
places.
Have you been back? Did your life allow you to go back as a civilian to Singapore? or
No.
Okay.
I would, first of all, it would take you 3 days just to get there, right? For flying, I guess. And, you know, a lot of these, like Army guys and stuff, they have reunions, different times, but there was maybe 8 of us, 10 of us aboard ship, so it wasn't a real big group.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, we were kind of,
You were part of the ship.
yeah, no, we weren't part of ship's company. So you see all these, if we showed up to one, they wouldn't do anything with us anyway, because
They put you in a room and you'd be
yeah,
translated.
as a matter of fact, when we worked days, they would have drills for general quarters and stuff, and they would simulate being hit by a torpedo or whatever, and inevitably, they would come down to our spaces where we slept and say that they had casualties. You know, we just came off work in 12 hours,
Yeah.
and they're coming down there trying to rescue us and, you know, put fires out, you know, simulate it. You know, it's like, just go away, leave us alone.
Oh, my-
So
yeah.
we didn't have a lot of friends aboard ship because they,
Yeah.
you know, we could talk amongst ourselves, but not with ship's company.
Are you still in contact with those guys?
No. I had one guy call me after 40 years, and we kind of reminisced a little
Oh,
bit.
good.
So, but the other guys, nah. It's just one of those things, you make good friends and then
And
they're gone.
and then they're gone,
Yeah.
yeah. And how did being in the service shape your civilian life?
Boy, I tell you, it makes you grow up really fast
Yeah.
when you get in the service. Especially when the first time you're going away from home.
Yeah.
You know, I'd never been on a train before. We went down to Grand Central Station and then we went to Great Lakes. Once when you went in, did you go to Whitehall Street down in New York?
No.
That's where they did their final swearing in and stuff. They had, geez, a big room with a bunch of guys standing there getting their last physicals
Yeah.
and stuff. And the doctor's going along checking everybody and stuff. And then the DIs or whoever was there said, okay, everybody count off if you're not affiliated. Like I was already in the Navy, so I was
Yeah.
taken. But everybody else had to take one step forward. And everybody said, count off 1, 2, 3, 4. So they said, okay, number 4, step out. You are now Marines.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Nobody wanted to be a Marine back then.
Wow.
So that was kind of,
Yeah, it was random, yeah.
That happened. I left from Chapel Street. Remember the recruiting building on Chapel Street?
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we went there
We got your physicals and
initially.
all.
Yeah, yeah.
I left right from there.
Oh, quick, huh?
And that was the same thing, you know, to count off, all right, you 3 guys are Marines.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was not a good time.
And so, coming back, the Vietnam veterans had it
Tough.
such a hard.
Yeah. When we traveled, when we left boot camp, to go to school or
Yeah,
wherever we were going, they said, wear your dress blues to travel. So I went to the Philippines, and all the traveling you did, you were by yourself. You weren't with a regiment or a platoon or whatever, you were by yourself. So we got over to the Philippines and we're in dress blues, and it's like 110 degrees in the shade, and the chief was like, what's wrong with you guys? You're in your dress blues? I said, well, that's what they told us. So he told us, go change. On the way out, coming back, they said you could wear civilian clothes. You don't have to wear a uniform. And I'm like, you know, we're looking at each other, it's like, what the heck's going on? But I wore my uniform anyway. And people, when you got back, you're walking through the airports and stuff, you know, like LAX and all that, by yourself, you know, and people kind of just got out of your way, you know, and you sit down on a table or on a bench and people just kind of go away from you, and it's like, so it was, I'm getting goosebumps. But it was not nice,
No,
you know,
no.
so.
And did Morse Code and so on isn't applicable to jobs stateside?
The only job I could find would have been our Marconi station up there on Cape Cod, but they went out, I got out in '72, and I think they shut it down at like 75.
Okay.
I visited the place and it was really cool.
Yeah.
But it was shut down, so
Okay.
I went back to ponds.
Yeah, there you go. Oh my goodness, so, and the legacy continued. What would you say civilians or people, what would you like them to know about what it was like to serve in a war? in
Well, I
wartime?
really wasn't in the stuff like a lot of guys were. It's lonely and you feel sorry. I had a guy, a friend of mine I went to high school with, he wrote a book. His name was Art Whitnick. He wrote a book called Nonsense. And I read the book, I got it from the library as a matter of
Okay,
fact.
good.
And while he was on a mission, the guys were walking on the moon in '69, and I was like, boy, I'm glad I'm not there. But then on the other side of me, because we were in Tokyo doing a couple of days R&R from the ship, watching the guys on TV, so I kind of felt guilty that I wasn't with him, but glad that I wasn't with him, you know? So at the same time, there's a lot of stuff going on, so you kind of feel bad, you know, that
Yeah.
maybe you could have done something, but on the other side, you're glad you didn't have to be there.
Right.
You know,
And-
so you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
So, but it was a good book.
Oh,
I
good.
enjoyed
We'll
it.
have to,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nonsense.
Nonsense.
They didn't have it here.
Okay.
The lady had to get it from the one over in Haddam,
Okay, and get it from another library.
Brainerd,
Oh, cool.
Brainerd
Okay,
Library.
okay.
Yeah, but she got it for me the next
Yeah.
day, so I was like, wow, cool.
That's the way, that works well.
Yeah.
We like that, we like that, we like that.
When I told her Art Whitnick, she's like, who? It's like, well, it's the only book he ever wrote, as far as I know.
Yeah.
So, and I haven't seen him yet. I want to. I've been to the VFW in Haddam at the old fire station, thinking I'd run into him because we went to high school together.
Okay.
So, but I guess he doesn't go that often. So,
I think it's starting Thursday in West Haven. They're having at the Veterans Center down by Bradley Point. They're
Oh,
having
yeah.
the wall, a replica of the
traveling wall.
Yeah, the traveling wall. So that'll be there for a week or so, starting I think on Thursday. So if that's anything that would be.
we're trying to get that up here.
Oh, good.
James Norrie, our commander down here at the VFW, he's been trying for a couple of years, and now we've finally made the list.
Good.
So they're gonna, I guess, put it over by Pearson or by the town hall or something.
Oh, beautiful.
So that would be
Oh,
cool.
that would be wonderful.
I volunteered, when they had it in Madison, I volunteered to go down 4 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the morning, because I figured it's the least I can do, right, to go down.
Yeah.
Geez, you wanna see the guys showing up early in the morning, just walking over there, people putting stuff down, and
Wow.
people leaning against the
Yeah.
wall, just kinda, it's like,
So moving,
Just,
yeah. So,
Have you
Does-
been to Washington? Have you seen it in Washington?
no, I have not. I should get down there. I've seen,
it's very
like,
moving.
PBS does things on that, and I've seen it down there that, you know, it's just like, and they have guys for the 1,000-yard stare that just kind of stand way back and look around a tree and, you know, I mean, wasn't. Of course, these guys going today over to Iraq and
Yeah.
Afghanistan and all that, but there's a big difference. These kids today volunteer to go. A lot of guys, they were just plucked
Yeah.
out and sent over, you know. I mean, war is hell anyway, but when you know you're gonna,
yeah.
you know, you get ready for it. Or they just make you go over. I just got lucky. You know, I tell my wife and my granddaughter, I think I was spared, I don't know if you guys are religious, but I think I was spared because now we have custody of our granddaughter. So if I wasn't here, we wouldn't be able to help her get through
Yeah.
her. She works there too, by the way,
Ooh.
Heather.
Oh, good. I'm like semi-retired now, so I'm not here every day, but I
Right.
hear really good things.
Yeah, she's a nice kid.
Oh, that's awesome.
So-
Good.
That's my justification, you know, that he spared me, so down, in life you get other stories, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel.
This is good. And so when people thank you for your service, how do you feel?
Embarrassed.
You do.
Yeah. But when we see guys with the hat on and stuff, you know, I go over and shake his hand and say, welcome home and stuff, it's a different, even though I wasn't there, it's a camaraderie. You know, Navy guys, Army guys, Air Force,
Yeah.
Marines, it's kind of a
Yeah.
brotherhood,
You know, we all put our lives on the line. It doesn't matter where you were or what you did. You didn't know where you were going.
Right, exactly. Well, my mother, she was a pip. There was a fuel ship or something that was stationed off Saigon or something, that swimmers went out and blew it up back in mid-69 or so. And so she's writing me letters, because sometimes the mail didn't leave when it was supposed to, you know, or you didn't get
Yeah.
it for weeks at a time or something. So she heard that a ship got blown up by divers, so she was worried about
Yeah.
our ships getting blown up. But we never stopped. We were doing a big figure eight. You know, we were up on North Star Station, and then they had South Star. And we had air cover over us all the time. So one of our primary ship's primary was to rescue pilots, down pilots and
Oh,
such,
okay.
and just support, because we were up by North Vietnam, off North Vietnam, Hainan Island
Yeah.
up there. So we were up there, and then you would go down to South Star, and you just did a big figure eight, and, you know, just going around. We had a time, the Admiral, the North Koreans shot down one of our EC-121 planes over there in '69 sometime. So they scrambled everybody out of the Gulf, and they took them all out of port and stuff. And rather than, because we were way up in off the coast, so rather than come all the way down and around to go to Yellow Sea, the Admiral wanted to go right through mainland China and the island of Hainan Island. Well, he got voted down, because you know, you're supposed to be 12 miles off so you wouldn't be 12 miles from the mainland and 12 miles from the island.
Yeah.
So we had to go all the way around.
Oh, wow.
So we went up to the Yellow Sea, and we were up there for a couple of days. Got to see the Enterprise, you know, the USS.
Oh, right, yeah.
They were launching aircraft at night and stuff. And the one thing that I can tell you, there was a operated radar, and it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and we had a high-speed surface craft that came out from North Korea, and we sent out various signals and finally after the third one said, this is the USS Man of War. You know, we identified ourselves as the Chicago a couple of times, and after the third one, they turned around and went in. So to this day, we don't know what it was. Could have been kids on a powerboat, you know, just screwing around for all we know. But at 3 o'clock in the morning, when you got somebody bearing down on you from a hostile, so that was, so everybody was, you know, you gotta be on your game,
Yeah.
you know? I mean, we had communications with other things that we would relay to people that didn't have the security clearance that we had. So I guess we kinda helped the war effort.
Well, you talk about security clearance. I never had a security clearance in the Army. And I was, in my unit, we had a safe that had a lot of secret stuff, secret rounds and blah, blah, blah. And I'm the only one that had the combination to the safe.
It was
So they'd keep me around.
Right? But it's interesting to talk to the different guys at the post,
Yeah.
what they did, the Air Force guys, and, you know, all the, it's kind of cool that everything kind of meshed in, and everybody's job kind of, one way or the other, kind of overlapped and helped, you know,
This is true.
so.
Well, I want to invite you and your family to come on the 10th of November at 5:30. We're going to have a reception for all the
Oh.
people who participated, and to thank you
Cool.
and celebrate you. So I hope that you can come.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Nice chatting with you
It's
guys.
So nice chatting with you. This is
I bet you get a lot of stories from
I
guys.
think we're going to. We'll have.